Hi, hi. My name's Alita Taylor-Owens, and today I'm going to reflect on the two counseling sessions and how they matched and met my expectations. My first reaction to how both counselors approach their clients, I felt like it was standard to what you would expect in a counseling session, but also because I've attended counseling, you know, for myself as well as marriage counseling. So I've been in two different counseling sessions. And so I feel like it was pretty standard counseling behavior that I've also experienced. Um, and so the the thing that I did notice with them, both counselors used, I guess, invitational, like they were real open postures. So the solar body language, so sitting squarely, maintaining open posture, leaning in, making eye contact, really relaxing with their clients, which we found on page 359, created to me a genuine atmosphere with their clients, and it also built trust. I like how the first counselor was leaning in a lot with his person. And I noticed that he was the one sitting on the couch and the client was sitting in a chair. And that was a little different than what you typically see, even in my own experiences. I know we were on the couch, or I was on the couch, and the counselor was in the chair. So I thought that was interesting. He took that position. Um, I feel like the first counselor, he waited patiently for the client to respond. He used a lot of advanced empathy based on what our book said on page 359 as well. There was a situation in particular where the client took a very deep breath after he posed a question. And he says to her, what thoughts came up in that moment? Like, what made you do that? And it made her have to dig deeper. And so I loved how the counselor was really in tune with what his client was doing all the way down to her body language and what that spoke of as well. The second counselor, I feel like, kind of ascribed to the Egan model. He definitely reflected back to his client things from previous sessions, where he was like, you don't really like him, yet you keep going out because it feels safer, I guess, than going alone. And so he's trying to get her to see that. But what do you really want? And he's asking her these questions that fit um, the Egan model. And so, what do you want to do? What do you want to see? Things like that. And so I did like that. And he wouldn't let her stop. He didn't just let her sit in her reasoning to want to keep going out with people doing things that she really doesn't like to do. Because that's what it was. She was seeing a guy, didn't really like him, but it beat going out by herself. And so he wouldn't let her sit in that. And even when she talked about doing that with other people, he was like, okay, but what about you? And what do you want? And what do you want to see? And what do you like? So I like that he kept pressing. It was almost like an I guess kind of like it probed her. I won't say interrogation. But he just, kept trying to push her to see that. I noted that both they it had person-centered influences, like there was empathy, genuineness, positive regard. Um, the second counselor structured progression through, like, asking clarification to get to a goal setting, like to get her to set goals. So like, what are you going to do for you, and who are you going to invite for you, and if no one comes, like things like that he was trying to get her to. um if anything, if there was any question that I'd like to ask, it would be the first counselor though. How do you decide um when noticing like a nonverbal cue, like the first person's deep breath? um how do you know that that may lead to something deeper, or that's something deeper? It could have been, I guess, the client just taking a deep breath, but how do you know when to dig deeper based off those nonverbal cues, versus kind of, staying with, asking more questions, but with where the client was going, instead of digging deeper with like the nonverbal cues, I guess. That makes sense. All right. So that would be my question to the counselor. Thank you.